to understand why he's called this. Guys, I'm only like 5'8", and I feel like I'm 5'2" next to this guy. I'm excited because I want to hear what you have to say, because the name of the book itself is phenomenal. It says When Giants Get Fed Up, but fed up stands for something. It stands for focus, education, deception, unlearn, and push. And I'm interested to hear like how you came up with this concept. The book looks phenomenal. Jono, how are you?
Man, I'm doing good, man. I'm glad to be here. I appreciate you guys giving us the opportunity to come out and just share what we're doing in the community, especially being Haitian American.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this speaks volumes.
Right?
It's awesome.
It's a little different, right?
Yeah,
we're trying to do big things with this station here in 980. So now here's the thing. First and foremost, tell us a little bit about yourself. You are from South Florida, right?
Yes, I am.
Let them know.
I'm from South Florida. Born in Chicago, Haitian.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah, right? Very interesting.
Moved down to Miami, Florida when I was about 7-8 years old. But the story behind that is just my mother. She had me at a very young age, teenage years, and at that time when she had me, in Haitian culture, when you have a child out of wedlock, it gets crazy.
Yep.
You know what I
Chastised.
mean? Yeah. Oh yeah, big time. So my father was involved, but he had already had another family on the side. So my mother was a side chick, right?
Mm-hmm. I get it.
So family was all crazy. Everything was, going up and down. I'm the first grandchild in the family. And at that time, my father, he stepped out. So I never met my father before. And so that caused my grandparents, well, really my grandmother, because my grandfather had passed away when I was about age 4 or 5 years old. She said, man, I want a new start, so let's move down to Miami, Florida. And she told my mother, hey, I need you to go back to school, finish up, and I'll take care of Jono. But my mother didn't take the opportunity to do that. So now I grew up in a situation where my grandmother is raising me. She also has 2 other disabled kids who are my uncle and my aunt. One is mute, and one has a mild retardation. And my mother, in the Haitian culture, is like when you have that child, the first child is supposed to be the savior. Mm-hmm. So a lot of pressure was on my mother to be that savior, seeing the fact that
I get it.
That her brother and her sister were disabled. And she never lived up to that. However, since she didn't live up to it, and I'm on the scene now I have to live up to it. So we moved down to Miami, Florida, and just my grandmother, my uncle and my aunt. My mother comes down. She lives with us for a little bit, and at the age of 7-8 years old, this is like the very first time that I'm actually having any type of interaction with my mother.
Mom.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we would stay up. We'll have some good nights where we'll stay up, we'll talk. I'm sure there were some good conversations in there because there were multiple nights that we would speak. However, there's just one conversation that still stands out to me to this day, where my mother tells me, and she says, you know what, you're lucky because if I had the opportunity, I would have flushed you down the toilet.
Wow.
Yeah. So now I'm in a situation where I don't know my father. My father abandons my mother and I in a cold basement of Southside Chicago. My mother disowns me. Like when we moved down to Miami, she's telling people that I'm not her son. My grandmother is my mother. Now, even though I'm at a young age, and even though I wasn't raised by her, I knew that she was my mother. So all of these different things played a part in the decisions that I made. So you're looking at someone who eventually, like age 11 years old, smoking for the first time, drinking for the first time. 5th grade, I'm skipping school on a regular, elementary school now, because I don't have the guidance, I don't have the support, I don't have the community, the family atmosphere that I need to actually grow and mature and thrive as a young boy. Mm-hmm. As I get older, it gets worse. Get into middle school, get into a lot of fights, get suspended a lot, threatened to get kicked out of the school on several occasions. But then eventually when I get to the 10th grade, I said, okay, this is it. I'm just going to drop out. So I decided to drop out of high school. And that's where the book comes into the picture, because you see, as it says, from anger to ambition, right? Because growing up, I was a very angry kid. And I didn't understand, nor did I realize this until I got much older and I started to mature and come into my own, that a lot of the decisions that I made as a young boy, I was angry. Not to mention, we're talking about Haitian culture.
Yeah, so it's 10 times harder.
Man, I love my Haitian people, but just to be honest, and we're talking about, you know, being real, right?
Yeah.
Man, there can be very negative.
Mm-hmm.
And so my grandmother poured so much negativity into me. Like that I would be nothing, that I would not do anything, and just the community at large. Like Haitian people, they're very religious people, right? And so my grandmother, I grew up going to church. And so even the people in the church, because they didn't understand what I was going through at home, they just looked at me as a vagabond.
That's
like,
it.
Don't hang around with this kid.
We know
what I'm saying? Like, don't associate with this kid. You don't want to be around this kid because he's doing X, Y, and Z. So I was labeled public enemy number one. I was a black sheep everywhere I went. And so I allowed that to play a part in who I was, and I accepted it, I embraced it, and I showed people, okay, if this is what you say I am, then I'm going to show you.
How far
I'm going to turn it up real hard on you.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you, right? So, man, it all culminated when my grandmother was just trying to get me to go back to high school. And she said, okay, I will buy you a car if you go back. So I said, okay, cool. So she bought me a car. So one day, I'm going to school, get in my car. I see one of my friends walking down the block. It's hot. You know, Miami's very hot. He's sweating and everything, 7:30 in the morning. And so I pick him up. I drop him off at the school that he's going to, and that's the school that I originally dropped out of school from because I had dropped out. So I drop him off, and then I start heading to my school, and then I'm going all the way on the northwest side of Miami, all the way down 17 Ave Northwest school. It's an alternative school, an adult alternative school. And as I'm going there, I get into a little fender bender, get into an accident with someone. Mind you, I didn't put car insurance on the car. So you know, in the state of Florida, if you do not have car insurance, your license is probably suspended.
Correct.
So I thought to myself, at a time, like no guidance, no understanding, nothing. I'm like, okay, I got into this fender bender. I don't want to go to jail, so let me just leave the scene. They do that a lot down here in Miami. They flee the scene a lot. So I try to take that path. I just leave the scene, and then my man starts chasing me. And so we're going in a residential area, 70, 80, 90 miles per hour, running stop signs, passing kids that are walking to school, passing people who are walking their dogs. I mean, running stop signs, stop lights, everything. And because I'm trying to lose him. Eventually, police gets into the picture, and they start, because he's calling police on his God, higher power, creator, whoever you want to call him, telling me like, yo, you know, you got to stop running. And for me, the running meant more for me at that time. It was a bigger picture for stop running than just running away from the car accident. But really, stop running away from your family issues. Stop running away from what's really taking place inside of you, and you have to be able to face these things head on.
So since you stopped running, what's happened?
Man, since I stopped running, so much has happened. 180 in my life, completely. Since we're saying that, you know, today is the anniversary, the 8th year anniversary of, you know, Haiti and the earthquake and everything, I was able to go there after the earthquake, a couple of months after, for 2-3 months, like sleep with the people, live with the people.
You stayed that long?
I stayed, yeah. And I stayed with them, stayed in tents with them, gave them hope, gave them sustenance, food, water, just live with them. And because I'm Haitian American and not everybody on the team was Haitian, it just meant more to me because it's like, man, I understand the cries of the people. I was able to go with a staff of doctors and dentists, and it was just crazy. You know, I've been able to travel the country, maybe about over 100 juvenile detention centers and schools, and just empowering young people that you don't have to say.
You've already spoken to 100 different juvenile detention.
Yeah.
So wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've made it a calling to help other people not do that.
Right. Yeah, because here's the thing, when you're young and you're growing up, and it's not just young people but adults too, we don't know how to make our pain and our hurt turn into something good. You know, it's like we sit on it and we complain. It was like, oh, my dad wasn't there, my mom wasn't there, look at the hand that I've been dealt. And we complain about it and we make it an excuse for not doing better in our lives, not doing better than the generation that came before us.
Yeah.
And so when I got into that fatal car accident, I was like, yo, I can't continue to blame my mother for not being there. I can't continue to blame my father for not being there. I can't continue worrying about or crying about my situation. At the end of the day, there's a measure of control and power that I have in my life that I can exercise to not just make my situation better, but make others who are coming up behind me in similar situations better for themselves.
Amen.
So that's why I just decided, man, I got back into high school, and mind you, now I'm still contending with bad habits that I developed from when I was a kid, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so even when I started going back to high school, I had a terrible work ethic. I really did not know how to study. I didn't know how to get good grades. It was tough. So I just paid my way to get my diploma. I just had someone do the work for me, got my diploma there. But guess what? It caught up to me when I got to college. Because I'm going to Miami-Dade College, I'm going back and forth with classes, failing classes, taking classes, getting the financial aid check, because I'd never seen like $3,000, $4,000 in one sitting, one time. So I'm like, hey, even though I'm failing the classes, let me just continue going for the checks, right? But then eventually, it clicked in my mind that, man, this life that I live is mine, and I need to take full control of it, and full opportunities that I have, I need to seize them and do the best thing that I can do with them. So eventually, I felt as if I had a calling to inspire young people, more so to educate young people who come from troubling past. And then when that happened, it clicked in my mind that, okay, education is the key, right? So that's why you see the education there in the book. So I had to get focused, right? Because you see the focus first. I had to get focused and say, okay, this is the lane that I need to go in. This is what I need to do. What came right after that was, okay, I need to get educated. Now in the book, I don't just speak about like education, like
not the simple,
like scholastic education, but I'm talking about educating yourself about yourself, educating yourself about life in general, just like a more introspective type of education versus the education that we get in school and get a degree.
Correct.
Right. So we had focus, I had education, and then there's deception. Now I know a lot of people that's kind of weird. Like, what do you mean deception? Well, in our society, we like to deceive ourselves and we like to deceive others. And in order to get to a certain place in your life, in order to affect change, we have to stop the deception. And now social media is like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Social media,
You can live a completely fake life.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So I realized for myself, look, I was deceiving myself since I was a kid, because here I was thinking that I'm just this bad boy. I'm just going to do what I want to do. Nobody's going to tell me to do anything. But in reality, I was acting out of anger, hurt, and a place of pain.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to act like, oh, I'm all good, I'm big, I'm bad, I'm tough. I am big physically, right? But, I'm trying to play that out like nobody can mess with me.
When really you were hurt the whole time.
Yeah, deceiving myself. And along with that, you're deceiving others, because I'm making other people think that I have everything all together, I'm good, that nothing phases
me. That is that is probably the biggest lie that a lot of us do. Right. We pretend that everything's all right when it's really not.
Exactly.
Okay, and then from the deception aspect of it, what is unlearn?
Unlearn. Well, unlearn every single thing that I have inherited, unlearn every single thing that I have been taught that this is the way to live life. Like, though my grandmother... there wasn't a weekend that I couldn't have lunch. Like I would come home 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, but come the weekend time, best believe my behind had to be in church, or I wouldn't have a place to live. So I grew up in the church. I understood everything, church principles, everything like that. But I still had this street life that I adopted, that I lived, because I had no one to guide me and direct me during the weekdays.
Correct.
So I had to unlearn the street life and learn the proper way to live. Like when I got to college, man, there's a lot of things I had to unlearn. One of my closest friends ended up being valedictorian of the school. But when I first met him, I was like, man, this guy's a geek. Like, he's a nerd. I don't vibe with people like this. You know what I'm saying? But I had to unlearn. I had to switch my mind. I said, okay, if I want to be successful in life, I have to be able to unite and have relationships with people who are on the path that I wanted to be with. Like, I couldn't no longer hang out with my friends who were trying to club and do all these different things.
Elevation requires separation.
There you go. Yeah. So that's why I had to have that mentality. So I had to unlearn a lot of different ways that I was taught, that I taught myself or that I saw other guys do.
And then last but not least, push.
Push, man. Because push, simple, you got to push through it, because it's not easy.
You got to get through the mud.
You got to get through it.
All right, well, listen, where can people find this book? Because we definitely want to, have people check this out and support. It's good to hear that you took all of that and you put it into a positive. It makes me laugh seeing so many people like in our community that are just really taking initiative. The reason it makes me laugh is because I'm saying to myself, man, we always complain about how nobody's doing this, nobody's doing that. There are so many of us that are really doing stuff. It is important for us to seek these people. There is a Jono the Giant. find him.
Mm-hmm.
Find him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's up? So where can we find this? Where can people follow you? Give your information so that we can definitely get people to check this book out.
Yeah. So you can find it on Amazon.com. Just type in "When Giants Get Fed Up." You'll see it. When Giants get fed up, you'll see a big old silhouette of a big orange person.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. And social media, you got Instagram, Jono The Giant, simple. You can find
how do you spell it? Let them know how to spell it.
Yes, it's true. Jono The Giant.
Mm-hmm.
Jono The Giant. That's my IG. Jono The Giant. That's also my Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me at those places. You can see the work that I've been doing in the community in South Florida, going to different schools.
Over 100 different detention centers. That is impressive.
Absolutely.
That is very impressive. I'm not going to lie. That is something that a lot of people cannot say.
Yeah, no. Over 100 juvenile detention centers, over 100 schools. I've been doing this since 2008.
So 10 years.
Yep, 2008. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's as long as the show, right, Dad?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then, thank you so much. Thank you for that time. I got something from this because this is a powerful conversation. It's interesting listening to people overcome obstacles because, so many people give up. So many people quit. The tragedy, there are people that have similar stories, but they don't overcome it. And it's just so heartbreaking. Hearing you not only overcame it, but you flipped it. It's one thing to just survive, but you're not surviving anymore. Now you're living.
Yeah.
And that's inspiring. So, guys, make sure you guys check this out, guys. Jono the Giant, When Giants Get Fed Up, Focus, Education, Deception, Unlearn, Push, From Anger to Ambition. Thank you very much, man.
Appreciate it.